Hail, hail, the Celtics are here. And what the hell do we care now? It's the Champions League and we're getting ready for maybe a party, Josh. We're not too sure yet. We've seen the groups. We thought we'd time it as well as we could for the spicy part of the draw. We've got pots 1 and 2 fully out at the moment, and we're just getting pot 3 lined up. And, you know, we're maybe reading a wee bit of writing on the wall already, Josh, with some of the draws and how they're going. But good to see you, mate. Hail, hail.
Oh, good to be here. I think this is one of the most exciting events of the year for Celtic fans, especially when we're in the Champions League. It's always good. We've got a massive couple of days coming up in general, obviously transfer deadline and the game on Sunday. So full focus now is on this draw. Some tough ones in there already, but I mean we'll just have to see where we end up with. I think we got a decent one last season. I think we could have done better, but hopefully this time around we don't get a group of death like we've been handed before.
Well, look at the pots 1 and 2 as they've came out. You know, Group D is the one that kind of stood out as like a Celtic group straight away. You know, Inter and Benfica, just with all the histrionics that go around it all. But as soon as you seen Leipzig come out next to City, you just thought as well, that could be a bit of a magnet for us.
Definitely. I mean, there's a couple of decent ones in there, but there's a couple of absolute shammers. Like you're looking at PSG, Dortmund, and Group F there. I think that'd be a tough one. I mean, I haven't seen Borussia Dortmund at Parkhead, so they're a team I would potentially like to see, but not along with PSG because, well, we know what they can do. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. There's some tasty ones.
But saying that, PSG, you know, I know they've not got Messi and Neymar anymore, you know, so they're not maybe quite the old selves in that respect, you know. Yeah. We've just got Shakhtar coming out the pot now, so we'll find out what group they land in. But we're starting to get pot 3, and pot 3, Josh, is when it starts to get exciting because we can, unfortunately, we're bloody pot 4. So see the rest of the groups kind of flesh out and see where we're going. And Shakhtar is another old paradise favourite, as it were.
So that City Leipzig group would be perfect with them and us, isn't it?
It's proper throwback Thursday. They're in Group H with Porto and Barca, which is also a very Celtic group, isn't it?
That is. That's not bad. I wouldn't mind that group, to be honest with you. Get a wee bit of revenge on Porto.
Yeah.
But Barca this season, I think they won the Liga last season, so they're looking a good outfit again. Obviously, kind of COVID times, they weren't too good under Ronald Koeman, I believe it was, but now they look all right. So they're going to Group H.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny, right? Because, like, earlier this week, Josh, and I know, like, last week when me and you were doing the pod, it was just, you know, this whole transfer window thing, it's just been a wee bit odd. We'll talk about the transfer business. We'll get into the usual pod stuff once we're around the Champions League doors. But I don't know. It's amazing what a 5-1 victory for a wee Dutch team can do for the spirits, you know, just in general.
That's, is that Red Star Belgrade out?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're a team we definitely want to try and find ourselves playing against because the standard of Serbian football is definitely something we shouldn't be frightful of. They're into G along with City and Leipzig. That feels like the Celtic group, doesn't it now?
By the way, I wouldn't mind that group, to be honest. I think you could. I think this is the thing every single year in the Champions League with Celtic fans. We'll look at it and we'll look at the draw and we'll go, there's Shakhtar Donetsk, we can take 6 points off them, and last year we get 2. It's wishful thinking at times.
It is indeed, to say the least. We got PSV Eindhoven out now. There we go. There's that wee Dutch team that we're talking about.
There's our heroes.
So they can only go into the first 4 groups. So it would be nice to see PSV. If Rangers beat them last year and can get a draw with them this year, they can't be that far ahead of us, if at all. So a team we fancy. But it's definitely about like that. You know, the draw is going to be so important for, I guess, our confidence in the spirits we've got completing this transfer window and everything as well. And we just hope it's a Group B that is for them. So they're in with Seville and Arsenal. That's not a bad group, by the way. Very red and white. Seville, Arsenal, and PSV.
I know. I wouldn't mind that. That's 3 teams I've never really seen at Parkhead before, to be honest. Sevilla, Arsenal, that'd be all new ones. PSV Eindhoven, at least in my lifetime. So certainly that should be quite exciting if we get thrown into that group. But I think we've got 3 out of the 8 completed.
AC Milan are out next. I think they can only go into F, which is PSG and Dortmund, and E, which is Feyenoord and Madrid.
Oh,
so them with AC Milan. Let's see who comes out. But yeah, if you're watching along with us, by the way, it'll get a wee bit more interesting once we've got the draw done. There's about 200 of you here. Please do hit a like, subscribe, follow, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. And get involved and let us know what group you're hoping we get as the draw's progressing. And obviously, once we get the draw done, let us know what you think about our chances. We'll get comments out on screen. Me and Josh will chew them over as well. And it was Group F for AC Milan. So it's PSG, Dortmund, and Milan thoroughly in the group of death now, Group F.
Yeah, definitely. That looks like the group of death, depending on who goes in with Napoli and Real Madrid, or Bayern and Man United, Group A's and C there. So there's some tough ones. It's shaping up to be tasty so far, as it always does.
So Salzburg have just come out and they can only go into that A and C bracket as well. And Salzburg are always a handy wee outfit. We've also met them quite recently. I think it was Europa League football we met them in.
I think we beat in both games.
But we beat Leipzig.
We beat Leipzig 2-1 at home, and then we played. I think we played them a couple of years before that under Ronnie Dyler, if I'm correct as well.
Group D for Salzburg. Yes, you're right. We did. And so that's Benfica, Inter, and Salzburg. That's an interesting group. Like, you fancy your chances.
You would definitely. I think for us so far, D and B are looking like shaping up all right. But knowing Celtic will get papped in Group F with PSG, Dortmund, and AC Milan. We never know.
So we've got Lazio out. I'm not sure how many options Lazio have. Yeah, they can only go into E. So they're going to fill out with Feyenoord and Atletico. That's actually a decent wee Group A.
That's not bad. That's some decent pedigree teams, but big names-wise, big teams, but teams you could get results against.
Yeah. So we've only got one. No, we've got two more pot 3 teams to go. Sporting Club Braga and FC Copenhagen. So once we get those two out, that'll be us at pot 4, and that's where it is going to get spicy. Chris McNally is doing a spoiler alert for the end of the stream already. He's saying we're in that group of death already. You can just feel we're being, it's like a magnet, it's just pulling us there,
Definitely. I think we can say bye-bye to Europe after Christmas if we're in that group.
Yeah. And here come Copenhagen into Group A or C. So they're screwed. They've either got Bayern or Man United or Napoli, Real Madrid. And Copenhagen are going to find themselves playing against Bayern Munich and Man United. Yeah, they're going to get stuffed, aren't they? So if we get into that group, like we would rattle Copenhagen. I've watched them 2 or 3 times. Yeah. We would definitely finish third in that group.
get revenge for that Europa League last 32 tie under Neil Lennon at Parkhead. Yes. Edward ice cold with that penalty in that game. Then they run up the park and scored 2. So I wouldn't mind that. Then obviously Man United, we've seen them several times at Parkhead, got results against them. So, and
there's the final team: Braga, Napoli, Real Madrid. It's not wild. Napoli are not this. They've changed manager and stuff like that, and they've lost one player, but they're still pretty good. So it's, so here we go. Right, it's getting exciting now.
Good stuff.
There's over 250 of you here live with us now. Smash the like button, and you've got to get that good luck out there into the internet to help us get into Group B or whatever group we want to get ourselves into. So if you don't hit a heart, share, retweet, or whatever, you're dooming us to Group F. Get involved and let us know what group do you want? What group do you want? Because there's a few groups there, Josh, like we've teased already. Maybe third is somewhat in your hands going into that group, and there's some of them where it's like, wow, maybe second could be on the cards. Looking at them now, what one jumps out to you?
Personally, I would like to see Group B because it's all teams we've never really seen at Celtic Park in recent times. But I think H could be decent as well. With Barca, Porto, and Shakhtar. Obviously, we've all probably seen them. But there's some very interesting teams. I think in most groups you're going to get a team you've not seen at Parkhead and a team you can get a result against. But as they roll through the credits for pot 3, and our old Italian man with spectacles takes forever, as he always does.
Aye, I'm a wee bit ahead. Joseph Juranovic in the highlight package there as well for Union Berlin, which is interesting. Yeah, Union Berlin and Antwerp also in pot 4 with us, making our Champions League debut. Yeah. And the pot 4, by the way, pot 4 in some ways is maybe stronger than pot 3.
Yeah. Newcastle, Sociedad just signed Tierney, Galatasaray.
They've been spending money like mad, Yeah.
Lens.
So this is definitely this is where it gets spicy. Right, guys, come on. Hit the hearts, hit the likes, shares and retweets. Get us away from Group F.
Type what group you want in the comments. Group B. Group B would be good, I agree.
Aye, that's it. Right, here we go. The balls are spinning. Joe Cole, do us a good gene, son. Do us a good gene. Right, guys, here we go. And then what do we do after we get us out? Do we even care about the rest of the draw? I'm not so sure we do. We'll pay attention to it. Maybe keep you updated if you're interested in the overall draw. But here we go. Straight out. First pot 4 team. Drum roll. It's Sociedad. Okay, cool. Tierney's new team. Tierney.
KT. So
Tierney and the Basque boys heading out into Champions League, and they can only play in a few different groups, so we'll see where they end up. But not us, Sociedad.
So Sociedad, can you go into Group F for us, please? That'd be very helpful.
Yes, we want imagine they did go into F. That would be real group of death, eh?
That would be.
That would be serious group of death, man. You could watch every game in that group, no bother at all.
Certainly, be a good field day for KT.
Ooh, Abidal, F, D.
D.
Wow, here. By the way, that group is open. You know what I mean?
That is decent. I'd have taken that group in a minute for Celtic.
Yeah. So that's gone for us. Benfica, Inter, Salzburg, and Real Sociedad.
I think group any team could do well in that group.
Yeah, big time. It's really open. Here we go. Newcastle are out next.
Oh.
So there's only obviously some groups they can get into.
Yep. Put them in Group F if they're available.
They can only go into E. They can get F. Let's get Newcastle into F. Let's get Newcastle into Group F.
That would be an amazing group if they went in there.
Yeah. Stephen O'Rourke wants the PSV group as well. I think we're all on board with that. Group B. Debbie Cruikshanks as well, giving it. Group A for James Duncan. But let's see, Newcastle United. Ooh, drum roll.
Come on, Ericsson.
F. Yes, Newcastle.
Come on. Unlucky lads. Oh, we've dodged a bullet.
Yes, we've missed Group F.
That is belting. That is belting.
Absolute scenes. Newcastle, Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, and AC Milan. What a group, man.
Unlucky, Eddie Howe. Unlucky, son.
Real popcorn material here. Galatasaray are out now, so I wonder where Ghana are going to end up. Right. No other Turkish teams, so I think they can kind of go anywhere.
Stick Galatasaray in Group C.
Yeah.
Watch them get B.
Yeah. Let's see where they end up. But we've still got E, we've still got H, and we've still got B.
Yeah. I think the only ones now I wouldn't want are probably C and G, to be honest.
Right, Galatasaray, where are you guys going? So it's great for us as well that we're one of the last ones to come out the pot.
I know.
There's over 330 of you heroes here from around the world. Hit the like button, guys. Get the luck's coming through with the Galatasaray, Man United, Bayern Munich, Copenhagen.
B still open. B is still open.
Yeah. So guys, you've done as good so far. You've done as good so far. Got to keep it up. Joe Cole's opening up the next one. Keep up the likes, guys. Smash it up. Like, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Union Berlin are out next. I'm not too sure what their options are like. There's not actually that many German teams, is there? It's only Munich, Dortmund, and them.
Yeah. Yep.
So where can they go? They can only go into D or B. Oh, crap. They're going to take B off of us, aren't they?
Yeah.
That'll be a real red and white group then, eh?
Yep.
D. C.
Come on.
Real Madrid, Napoli, Braga. Take them.
Come on, Ericsson.
It's C.
Come on.
Union Berlin, Braga, Madrid, Napoli. Brilliant. So we've got Group B left. We've got Group E left and H. 3 good ones. And even G, third would be pretty. We've got good groups left, by the way.
Decent.
Here we go. Getting exciting. Next team out is Young Boys of Bern.
Come on. Stick them in
now,
G.
Guys.
Hit the like button to stick Young Boys in G, guys. Come on.
I would love to be able to put this graphic on screen with the groups so I could show you guys a bit easier what groups are left as they're filling out, but I'm a bit worried that putting the UEFA TV thing on might get us in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll get a nice wee graphic up and going, I'm sure, when we can.
Come on. Young Boys.
And let's see. They're going to take Group G. City's group. Oh, guys. So we've got 3. We've got 3 groups left. We've got B, which is Seville, Arsenal, PSV. We could take Group E, which is Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio, or we could take Group H, which is Barca, Porto, Shakhtar. Group H feels like the Celtic group, doesn't it? But
yeah, I feel like we've got every chance of going through in any of the groups.
Lons are out next.
Lons.
Racing Club Lons are out next. But
they could go into
3 good groups, man. We want them to take Group H away from us, eh? That's the Celtic throwback group. We don't want any throwback Thursdays, or throwback Wednesdays and Tuesdays,
Take H or E.
We want the football tourist group, some new people we've not seen before.
We do. Arsenal.
Celtic, here we go. Celtic are out.
Here we go, boys.
Here we go. Right, so let's see. We can only get E or H. So we can only get the Barca group or the Feyenoord group. Feyenoord, we want Group E. Right, Abadal, do us proud, son.
My money's on the Barca group.
Oh, you knew it was the Barca group, didn't you? Come on.
Come on.
Give us E. Eric Abadal, E for Abadal. Come on. Geez it, son. Group E. Yes! Ooh. Yes! Come on, the hoops. Right, boys and girls, we are in. Feyenoord of Rotterdam, Atletico Madrid, and we're going back to Lazio. We're going back to Rome.
Rome conquered.
Guys, what a group, by the way.
That is good. That is good.
Feyenoord, no mugs. Atletico Madrid, no mugs. Lazio, no mugs. But hey, none of them are like
they're
some
not
of these other teams we could have pulled out with.
None of them are world beaters, but at the same time, I think it will be tough to get results against them all. There's no team in there that sticks out like last year, like Shakhtar, that you're thinking we could take 6 points off them. Don't think there's any teams like that in that group, but I think it will be some entertaining matches like Atletico Madrid that are, as my mug's cursed it. I was sitting with an Atletico Madrid mug, drinking my tea off air. I've been to the Wanda Metropolitano, wouldn't mind another wee trip out there. Rotterdam, Feyenoord, obviously Henrik Larsson, the connection there. He signed for us from Feyenoord. We've got Lazio, who we know. We played them in the Europa League a couple of years ago, beat them 4-2 over 2 matches. Neil Lennon absolutely flipped those 2 games, but I wouldn't mind similar results against them. It's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited by that group. We've not seen Feyenoord at Celtic Park. We've not seen Atletico Madrid. And Lazio is another throwback. They'll be eager for revenge on us, definitely. But I think it's a very, very exciting group, in my opinion. What do you think, Connie?
Yeah, I'm right excited. For playing like so rare, quite hard over the last 2 or 3 years, especially like Feyenoord. A lot of these teams, I've got a good sense of. None of these games are going to be easy at all, but every one of them, we're not written off at all.
Yeah,
Feyenoord have been selling very, they've sold a lot of players over this summer in particular. Guys like Kokchu, Szymanski, some real playmakers. So that could. This is just a really exciting group. We were so worried, or I was worried anyway. Like I said, the draw could have killed us before we even started, but it's a great group. Yeah, and it's a great comment here from Boheed Bob. There's no 7-0s there. There's none of those ones.
We know Diego Simeone is just going to sit in at Celtic Park and look to counter us. They scored 7 goals at the weekend with 44% possession, which is interesting. But who did PSV go into? I think they got Arsenal, Sevilla, and was it Lons in with PSV in that group? Am I correct?
Yeah. They got Lons in the end. Yeah. They're a red team. Yeah, so that's all red. There you go.
That's a decent group. Lons, is that first time in the competition for them? So.
They didn't. Is it? I didn't hear them saying that, but it might be. I've got this is the little screen I was watching. I've just got it up for you now. So yeah, that's all the pots. That's all the groups. They're going to tell us the fixtures by 12 o'clock tomorrow latest.
Yep.
And all that'll be confirmed. So for some of you guys and gals that'll be looking to travel maybe to Rotterdam, Madrid, or Rome, stay by your EasyJets and your lastminute.coms.
Your Sky Scanner.
Sky Scanner and all that good stuff. And so we've got our transfer window is Friday midnight is the way I understand it. So all the English stuff is wrapping up tonight, but we've still got a bit of tomorrow is the way I always think of it. We've got a little bit more than them.
I think England are tomorrow at 11, if I'm right.
Are they tomorrow at 11? Is that what it is? Yeah, I know we've always got a little bit on them, so it's just an hour.
Yeah, an hour left, I think.
I think there's some. I've seen Fabrizio Romano's doing a stream tonight, so somebody's got a deadline tonight. I don't know if it's maybe some of the European countries or something.
But it might be Europe. I'm going to check that out now, actually.
Or maybe I'm just backing up the wrong tree. But the squad registration is the 4th of September. So, anyone that signs, there's not going to be any issues with registering for Champions League or anything like that. So I know there's always that last minute, get the medical done, get the paperwork sent over. Don't need to worry about any of that caper with any of the signings we're going to get for Champions League. Now that we've seen, and I'm sure as over the next week or so, Josh, between myself and you across the website, the channel, and everything else, we'll be chewing over the teams and analysing them and breaking them down. But I can tell you on the first kind of salvo, by the way, like Atletico Madrid will not be the defensive El Cholo team that they've become. He's been under a lot of pressure for the last 2 years to change, and they kind of have, they're really good at the moment. So I really wouldn't expect too much out of them. But at Celtic Park, we can get something out of anyone, and so
definitely.
I'm not writing that off in that respect. But very, very good team from top to bottom. And like I say, Feyenoord have done really well, but they've sold so much over this summer that they've got a lot of younger kids coming through now, and that's starting to live in that. Under the bright lights, we could definitely maybe get something from. And Lazio, Lazio finished 3rd in Serie A last season, and they have went out this summer and they've been recruiting like mad. They sold Milinkovic. They done what Celtic should have done. They sold Milinkovic-Savic for like 70 million, and then they went out and bought like 5 guys with the money, like real guys with big money, So Lazio, but they've not won a game yet. They've been really bad in the first two or three matches of Serie A. They've really lost their way early season. So definitely not a group or a bunch of teams we should be worried or scared of, So I'm really excited for that group. Definitely. I would like to think we could get like 10 points if everything went our way,
Yeah, I think you've got to, obviously, I think Celtic do this every year. You've got to target the home games. Celtic Park, under the lights, we know the fortress it can be. And if we can get 3 wins out of 3 at home, I think it's quite having high expectations of the team to get 3 wins out of 3 at home, but I think it's within the realms of possibility. I think looking at the teams as a whole, Feyenoord are probably sticking out as the one you could potentially get the best results against, even though they're the pot 1 team. I think we've got very lucky when you looked at the other pot 1 teams that were in there: Man City, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. I think we've got a good one in Feyenoord, and certainly looking forward to them. But just before we came on, I was doing a bit of notes on the kind of fixtures we've got either side of the match days. So match day 1 is in the 19th/20th of September. That's 2 weeks past yesterday. 2 weeks past on Tuesday. 3 weeks past Tuesday, sorry. Where before the first game of the Champions League, we have Dundee at home, then Livingston away. But the one that sticks out to me the most is match day 3 of the Champions League on the 24th to 25th of October. The weekend before it, we're away at Hearts, and the weekend after it, we're away at Hibs. So whoever we get in the middle of that, if we get an away tie, it's going to be a very tough week for us, having those 3 games lined up. But on the whole, very pleased with that draw, to be honest. I think it's teams, like I said, we haven't seen at Parkhead. Lazio, we've seen them before. But I think you could even pass for that being a Europa League group in past years as well. Like, you look at those teams, Lazio, we had them Europa League, Feyenoord, traditionally Europa League. I believe Feyenoord were in the Conference League final against Roma a couple of years ago. They have good European pedigree. Another Dutch team, obviously, we watched PSV last night. Sure, most people watching would have a very good result that everyone would have been pleased with. But Feyenoord finished above them in the Dutch League last season, so they're going to be no mugs. I think we've got, like I said earlier, we've not got a team who sticks out as someone you can beat. I think it's positive with the squad. The deadline, like, we don't have to worry about paperwork and things like that. 25 players were allowed. 8 of them have to be locally trained. So you might see the likes of James McCarthy included in the squad for the Champions League, but he's not going to play a minute. Heavily doubt that, but happy with the group. And it's just like now I feel like it'll be just waiting for the fixtures to come out. I think that's what everyone's waiting on. I think it's always good to have the first game at home and have the last game at home. I feel like that's always beneficial. We had that last season. Obviously, we kicked off the campaign at home to Real Madrid, then ended it at home to Shakhtar. No, we ended it away to Real Madrid, sorry. We got beat 5-1. But I don't think there's any team in there that could give us a similar result. I believe someone commented that earlier, that's going to go away and scud us 5-1. You'd be confident going into every one of those games that we can actually challenge and compete and play the football Brendan wants to. Like, we've seen him in Europe before, obviously got beat off PSG heavily, but against Bayern Munich, he challenged them at home. We beat Anderlecht 3-0 away from home. So we've not done too bad under Brendan in Europe before. He had to obviously, both times he qualified for the Champions League, go through 4 rounds of qualifiers, 8 matches. So it was really tough when we had to do that, but it's great to be in the Champions League now and get that group. Like, it's an exciting one. Do you think that's the best group we've been in since Champions League started? What do you think, Connie?
It's probably not far off on paper. Like you say, Feyenoord for pot 1. I don't think we've ever had a better situation than that. We have had some we've had some softer groups in the past where I think maybe Benfica might have been pot 1 year.
Yeah.
But we got like, I wouldn't even be surprised I think one of these years gone by, like, we might have had Benfica out of pot 1, but we end up getting Barca out of pot 3 and stuff like that, So it's one of those ones where it feels like we've had a decent pot 1 to 3 on top of us, if you know what I mean. So I would definitely go on with that. I think it's probably on paper the best group.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you looked at last year, I think we all wanted, I think the majority of Celtic fans, even Cal McGregor said it last year, he wanted to play Real Madrid, and we ended up getting them. So, I mean, that was tough, but this year I don't think there's any team the stature of Real Madrid. Sorry to any Atletico fans, your city rivals, etc. But hopefully a lot of the fans will be looking forward to more trips to Madrid this season. They'll be phoning up the hotel they were at before. Obviously Rome as well is a destination we're familiar with, but off to the Dam, Rotterdam, I think that'd be a very good away trip over there in the Netherlands to see Feyenoord. The Keep's a great stadium, great atmosphere created there. So I think Feyenoord and Celtic have a decent friendship. Atletico Madrid, we played them in, I believe it must have been 70s, 80s, I believe. We played them in a game that turned out to be very dirty. I think if I'm recalling what I've been told off family members before. But Lazio, I can't remember us playing Lazio before that game in the Europa League a couple of years ago. Don't know if we'd clashed with them. 9 or 10 points possible. I think that's fair. Definitely Ben Maguire. Getting Feyenoord is great. I completely agree. Feyenoord will be a great draw for us. But Netherlands is always good. It's always a good place to go. Like, we've had the kind of thing with Ajax. I think we get them quite a few years in the trot. And now to get different team Feyenoord, I think I'd have probably preferred Feyenoord over PSV Eindhoven, to be honest with you. That may just be ignorance from me watching PSV last night and seeing what they could do, but I've not really, if I'm honest, I've not really watched most of these teams. Like Connie, you obviously probably know more than me in terms of like knowledge of European football as a whole, but they're great names in terms of stature in Europe. I think that's a very good group. I believe Feyenoord beat us in the Champions League final or the European Cup final in 1970. In Milan, I believe, if I'm speaking correctly here. I think they beat us 2-0 in that game. Jimmy Johnston had so many bruises at half time. I think they had to sub him off because the Feyenoord players were kept kicking him. I'm going to fact check that in a minute, but a repeat of the name.
It was always Feyenoord that came across that team, semi-finals and finals and stuff. Excuse me, sorry. So I think the point we get to now with this, now that we've got the group sorted, right? This stage of the month, it's, Palma's in the building, Phillips is in the building, right?
Yeah.
Now, Palma, we've went and pulled him in, right? And that seems to be, I don't know, I seen a quote from Izagiri saying, "I'm so glad the Celtic president listened to me." That's his actual words.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is an Izagiri purchase for Palma. We'll see how good he is. They've given him the number 7 shirt. He's meant to be a wicked free kick set piece taker. So yeah, I'm all about that life. Let's get a bit of that back into the Celtic ground. But with Phillips coming in as a loan, it's definitely divided a few. How do you look at these two pieces of business, Josh?
And Luis Palma, I think it's good. I've recently we've seen the Sead Haksabanovic stuff at the weekend. It looks like he's leaving to PAOK in Greece. But Luis Palma certainly looks a big talent. He's 23 years old, so he's not old by any means. He's got much room for improvement. And obviously, like you've said, set piece taker, we've not really got a good kind of player you'd be confident in stepping up to a free kick and banging one in the top corner in the team now. Maybe look at David Turnbull a bit for that, but he's not done it for a while. Yeah, Luis Palma, over 20 goal contributions last season in Greece. So he's going to bring that. He's going to bring goals and assists. And I think he could turn out to be a fan favourite going by what his fellow countryman Izagiri done before. I think he said that he wants to do better than him. So hopefully he can do. Because Izagiri was a great player for Celtic. In terms of Nat Phillips, I think it's a good signing. 6-month loan deal. good signing in my opinion. Like, we need a centre back, we need a stopgap signing. He's 26 years old, he's got experience, he's played in Champions League before with Liverpool, seen what a wee Cruyff turn at the San Siro before. Hopefully he doesn't pull out any tricks like that. But yeah, Nat Phillips, I think he'll be solid. Klopp described him as a monster in the air, 6'3", but he looks comfortable on the ball as well. So I feel like he's another good signing. And as well, because it's 6 months, I think the club have been very, very good with that. We've seen what happened with Moritz Jens last year. Came in for a year's loan, surplus to requirements halfway through the season. So he patched the loan and he went back to, I think it was Lyon. He went back to, or Lorient in France. And then I think that, so we've learned a lesson from that and get Phillips in just 6 months. But it will be reassessed in January. And I've got a sneaky feeling him and once Carter Vickers backs, they two would be an absolutely solid partnership at the back for us. But he adds to the quality and depth. We need him now, and I think he'll be thrown in on Sunday.
I think a loan is the best solution in this situation because I liked what I seen from the Rocky. We all know what Vickers brings, and it's one of those ones, if we went and bought another guy, then you're just asking for a real big headache later on. We still have Welsh in the building. We still have Kobayashi in the building.
Yeah.
Never mind Lagerbielke, Scales, or Wata. So if we sign somebody else, it might have been a bit of an issue later on, maybe an issue wage structure-wise and whatever. So I totally get that side of the approach. I've not seen much of this guy. I do know that Liverpool and English Premier League fans generally rate him pretty well. And I remember from when we were linked the very first time, to Ben Davies, he was like, no, I'm going to stick it out at Liverpool and see if I can get in the team. And then Nat Phillips got in the team.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Ben Davies.
Yeah.
And then Ben Davies ended out at Preston or something, and then Rangers eventually, obviously.
Yeah.
So he's better than the Rangers centre back straight away. So I know that much, and that's all the thoughts I've got on Nat Phillips. If he's a Premier League level centre back, then he'll be useful. Nothing else really let us down. That's what you hope for, eh?
Yeah, certainly. I think it'll be solid. He'll need to get that partnership going with Lagerbielke quickly, obviously, because they'll be the ones that play on Sunday. They'll be the ones that play Dundee at home when we come back for internationals, and they'll be the ones that play in the first game of the Champions League against either Atletico, Feyenoord, or Lazio. So I think it'll be good. And his dad did play for Rangers, I believe, in a 2-2 draw against Celtic. And I got 3 sendings off in that game, but hopefully he's following his dad's footsteps and actually win at Ibrox and not draw this Sunday. We'll see what happens, but a couple of other players we've been linked with, I think there's still a while left of the window for us to get a few more in, maybe.
Do you think Nat Phillips goes straight into the team?
I think he starts on Sunday. I think him and Lagerbielke will play. I could see him dropping Scales. I certainly think that.
Wow,
what do you think?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's just too, he's just showed up today. You know what I mean? And then, the game's Sunday.
Yeah. He'll get a training session tomorrow probably. But
yeah, I know we've done derby debuts, but I don't know. I don't like the last minute ones like that. They feel a bit sketchy to me.
I mean, in a time of need, would you rather start Scales or would you rather start Phillips? That's the question. Let us know in the comments below, Scales or Phillips, because I think Lagerbielke is certainly nailed on. He's played 2 games. Big Liam, let us know if you would start Scales or Nat Phillips on Sunday. Yeah.
That'd be a good one. Yeah, I just assumed, it's too kind of late for him to come in, but wow, I never thought about it. It would really shake things up, I suppose. And Palma as well, getting a number 7 jersey. And again, a lot of fans are really ripping to see him, get an appearance at least at the weekend, if not maybe even a start, just with all the Abada misses and stuff like that. Maeda misses and Abada not being fully fit in the contract talks and whatever going on. Do you think Palma could start this game as well? I would think that a bit more of a stretch, but what do you think?
I would say Palma starting is more of a stretch than Phillips, because obviously we've barely got anyone at centre half available at the minute. Kobayashi did train today, along with Oh Hyun-gyu, so they look back and ready. But yeah, Palma, I think fans would be very excited to see him play. He looks that type of player who will get you off your seat. He'll run at a man. He's certainly has a lot of flair and can contribute to a goal. Maybe it's a situation where you start Maeda and you start Yang. I think Yang should get the nod. I like the look of him against St Johnstone. I think he was one of our better players in that game. And throwing Palma in wouldn't be... I wouldn't be too against it, but I think bringing him off maybe half an hour, 20 minutes to go, just to run at Tavernier or whoever it is, because we know the Rangers fullbacks aren't the best defensively. So maybe putting him on in his debut, show what he can do for the last half hour, 20 minutes could be decent. But yeah, I can see Phillips starting more over Palmer, to be honest. But I wouldn't be opposed starting them both.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Because we are going away, and it's one of those ones where we had a nice comment there saying it's been better if we were at home. We could have played the Champions League anthem at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a spicy game at the weekend, but because the way the league started for both of us, they dropped points very unceremoniously against Kelly, and we've kind of stumbled and dropped a few points as well, as we just mentioned there with the St Johnstone match. So it's a real, they're always 6-pointers, these games, but it's real that there's an edge in it straight away. It's only 3 or 4 games into the season, and it's one of those ones where I think there's pressure on both camps, for different reasons. And I suppose if Nat Phillips comes in and is quite, he can bring that kind of Premier League level of defending, and hopefully, I suppose, if they can muster together a back 4 unit, maybe it might work. But I just worry because that Rangers team have played a lot of minutes together, and I know that they've got a lot of new signings as well. But to throw a guy into his debut, particularly at centre back, I would find that a bit of a risk. A lot of guys in the chat and you are obviously like, oh yeah, of course you put him in.
Yeah.
So I just that's knocked me off my stride a bit.
I know. Yeah, I mean, there is certainly an argument for Scales. He played against St Johnstone. He's played against Rangers before. For Aberdeen, he scored against them last season, so he has experience of playing at Ibrox, playing against Pittodrie. He knows the Scottish game. He knows what it means to play in this game, but so Nat Phillips. And he has played with Lagerbielke last week, and they kept a clean sheet, albeit against St Johnstone at home. Just seeing Palma direct free kick goal at Ibrox on Sunday. I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, I certainly think Lagerbielke, Phillips, or Scales, I think it'll be two out of 3 of them. Just wait and see what Brendan has to say. Obviously, I think he has a good relationship with Jurgen Klopp, Brendan Rodgers, so obviously Jurgen's probably just said to him, listen, there's a centre-back, I'm not using him, you need one, you can take him and have him. But I think Nathaniel, I wouldn't be surprised. Alistair Johnston made his debut at Ibrox, but at the same time he was training with the club for a good 2 or 3 weeks before that. So there's a thing there. Phillips is probably going into this game with 1 training session with the team, on only meeting his teammates once. Probably still staying in a hotel, not even got a house or anything yet, but we'll see what happens. I think the team news on obviously Sunday will come out about 11:15 in the morning, but it's going to attract attention, like we've said. Obviously, Joe Hartle's starting goals, and then the centre backs where the real dilemmas are. Taylor at left back, looking at Ali Johnson, and then the midfielders where some dilemmas are as well. Obviously, Cal McGregor's going to get the nod, Mattarelli's going to get the nod. You just don't know where it's going to be, Turnbull or Home, or even Paulo Bernardo, a rumoured signing from Benfica on loan potentially. And then obviously Kyogo will play up front in the wingers. There's some dilemmas as well, so I think it's going to cause a lot of debate. But first, we've got Champions League draw out of the way now. It's looking forward to the transfer deadline day and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten all about the Paulo Bernardo loan move that's coming through from Benfica. So again, a guy I managed to watch when I was watching Darwin Núñez play at Benfica, which was a few seasons ago now, and he looked kind of okay, right? But see, a conversation I had with some Benfica fans at that time was, don't get too excited about him. Benfica had just produced a few guys in that kind of crop that were really good, and they still are, centre mids called Florentino Luis and I can't remember the other one. I'll remember it in a minute. But Gedson Fernandez. And I thought, this guy could be that same kind of level. And I see a lot of Benfica fans said to me, don't hold your breath. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, kind of thing. So he's still been there for another 2 or 3 seasons. Darwin Núñez has obviously been long gone since then. So wherever that time scale is. And now we are picking him up on loan at the end of the window. Benfica don't want him. It's not as if there's a clamber of clubs after him either. So I'm not too sure what this guy does in the team, because when we look at the midfield, like you say, McGregor walks on. O'Reilly, it probably walks into most Celtic fans' best 11, I think, even now. Yeah. So then it's that final spot when Hatate's fit, it's probably going to be him. But now it's a wee question mark of Home, Turnbull. We've still got Kwon in the team. We've still got Iwata in the team.
Yeah. I think
where would this Bernardo guy actually play?
When I heard about it, I was a bit surprised, because I was like, you're probably looking at the team right now, despite us having Greg Taylor and Alessandro Bernabé available as left backs, I feel like we should be looking at a left back more than we should be looking at a central midfielder, a goalkeeper as well. To be honest, so I don't think that's looking likely. But it's an interesting one. At the end of the window, we signed Jota. Summer of 2021, he was unwanted at Benfica. We got him in deadline day as a last minute, and we had an option to buy, and it's a similar deal. We've seen it could be a similar fee that we got Jota for as the option to buy in this deal. 21 years of age, he's still got time to develop and improve. But at the same time, I do question the need for a central midfielder unless we're going to see a surprising departure before the end of the window. Obviously, David Turnbull has a year left in his deal. If maybe Brendan's decided I'm not going to renew David's, so I might get in this boy Paulo Bernardo. But we'll see. I think I wouldn't be against the signing, and I would certainly welcome him. But I think it's one that's went a bit under the radar. I think Nat Phillips has got the fans more excited than Paulo. I don't know how accurate this is. I've seen a comparison with him on social media to Joao Felix, but Joao Felix is a centre forward and Paulo is an 8/10. So I doubt that's accurate. But when the schedule gets tight, when the tough gets going in like November, December time, when we're going to be playing 3 games a week, it's always positive to have several players available. But at the same time, we've got several, like obviously Kwon, we've not seen much of him. We've seen him in the pre-season game against Athletic Club, and I don't think he's played since then. Might have made a cameo on the bench or something like that, but he doesn't look too impressive in that game, and we've yet to see him again. So that's quite interesting one there. Obviously, Odin, we've brought him in £2.5 million from Norway, and he looks a talent. I can't wait to see more of Odin Thiago Gomes as the season's progressed. But maybe it's just long-term planning. Well, obviously, Rio Hatate, we don't know what's happening with his new deal. I think he's wanted to put negotiations back until after the transfer window shuts. So maybe we could be seeing some movement there, maybe even if it's next summer and the club are planning for the long term. But I think I wouldn't be against the sign of Paulo, but at the same time, like you've said, Quinn, I think it's strange that we're targeting a central midfielder. So maybe there's something going on that we don't know of.
Yeah. It's because it's one of those ones where I like Greg Taylor a lot. I'm a big fan of him, and I think he can do a good enough job. But even at the Champions League level, for as good as he was, even under the last manager, he just wasn't up to it at that line. So, like when Rodgers is coming in and he's not going to get that 10 out of 10 Taylor, he's just getting regular Taylor. Then it's definitely like, why do we need another midfielder? That's just like I don't mind getting another midfielder in who's totally different. Right, this Paulo Bernardo guy isn't totally different. He's not. Like Haksabanovic is going to go to Pau, a PAOK Pau, over in Greece, and we've lost Jota. We need those guys that can dribble, they can do stuff. Palma seems like one of those guys. Cool, that's one down. Jan can do it as well a little bit. It seems cool. There's another one. Yeah, you need a guy like that probably in midfield as well. But again, with the amount of names we've got roaming around there, especially when Hatate is actually fit, we don't. It's not something that's in dire need. But the full team was fit tomorrow, and we've got to play Atletico Madrid on match day 5. Yeah. Greg Taylor's probably one of the guys you're looking at and thinking we should have maybe upgraded that in the summer. Yeah, if everyone's fit.
That's certainly true. I think we've been crying out for a left back all summer. Quinton Mellon was linked. He recently came out and said he wants to stay loyal to Nantes and he owes them another season. That's slightly disappointing. But yeah, completely agree we need a left back. Greg Taylor, last season, like you've said, under Ange Postecoglou in the inverted role domestically, Taylor was brilliant. He excelled. When he got into Europe and he got to that next level, even when we were playing Shakhtar Donetsk, who were the pot 3 team in the group, he was torn apart by Mudryk. Obviously, he's went on to Chelsea. Personally, I think Mudryk made his name again in the 2 games against Celtic where he scored in the Champions League. But Taylor didn't do too well. He was exposed, even against Bodo Glimt a couple of years ago, he was exposed by Ola Solbakken, who's went on to Roma and not done too much there, and he could be away at the end of this window. So, and then Bernabe, you'd never be confident throwing Bernabe into a Champions League game. He's still far too undeveloped, far too young, and he's not a defender. He's at the same time, like I believe his strengths lie in attack. So I hope we sign someone between now and tomorrow at midnight. I think we've seen reports that it's a priority position for us now, especially if we get Paulo Bernardo in. I think we might see one more, and it would be a left back, certainly left back over a goalkeeper. But the question is, would you rather sign a left back or a goalkeeper? What would you think when he leaves it in the comments below, guys?
If I was to take one, I would. Depends on who the actual person is, because if it was just pick a goalkeeper or a left back, I'd probably.
Yeah.
I probably would take the left back, you know, if I was only to take one just on the face of it. But if I knew the goalkeepers that was available in this scenario, then maybe I would pick a goalkeeper. It really depends. But I think Joe Hart, like at home to Feyenoord, at home to Lazio, at home to Atletico Madrid, that's what he's getting paid for. You know, that's where we need to see Joe Hart do something. And in those 3 games, maybe he could do something. Who knows? And in the away games, you know, that's really where he could make a name for himself when he leaves Celtic next year. You know, if we can go away and get some good points and he can be a big part of that, then you know, I think Joe Hart's got, you know, he could write that story, whereas Taylor maybe couldn't. Is kind of what I'm trying to round that off with, you know.
I mean, the big man did make 2 good saves at the weekend, obviously against St Johnstone, saved us a couple of times, but Joe Hart away in Europe, it just gives me the fear. Like, we seen him at Leipzig last year when he passed that one out to Andre Silva moments after he saved a penalty. I could see the same happening. The past couple of seasons in Europe, we've had difficulties with goalkeepers, obviously Europa League and the COVID season, and we've had Joe Hart. He's not really had, for me, I've always said this, he's not had a standout performance. Obviously, it's very tough to emulate something like a Fraser Forster in the League Cup final, a Fraser Forster against Barcelona. Like, he's not the pedigree of Fraser Forster and an Arthur Boric. Like, those are 2 fine, absolute quality keepers. Joe Hart's not at that level, especially maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago he is. But now I don't think we've got that Joe Hart. But at the same time, he is capable of making saves. Like, short stopping is one of his strengths. I just think passing the ball out from the back is not one of his strengths. And goalkeepers that have tried to do that in the past for Celtic in Europe have failed. Craig Gordon at home to Inter Milan in the last 32 Europa League gifted them 2 goals. He also done it against Salzburg at home in the Europa League. He gifted them a goal. And Joe Hart obviously done it last season. And I think it's no coincidence that when Fraser Forster came in, we get 2 big results against Lazio where he was absolutely terrific in home and away. But does Joe Hart have a performance like that in him? I don't know. That's the dilemma we are having right now. I think it was total. I think it was shocking that we didn't sign Dominic Livakovic. You seen the fee he went to. Fenerbahce he went to in the end.
Yep.
6 million. I think Celtic should have been right on that, but there could be stuff behind the scenes that we don't know of, obviously. But if we had Dominic Livakovic right now and we had the signings we have, I think this would be a greatly successful window. Already is very successful. We've signed 8-9 players and we've spent money and we've done well. There's no question of that. But pardon me, I feel like adding someone like Livakovic would have just made this like a total top class window. There is still time, obviously, still to go. But I just think the goalkeepers that are available now for that price and that quality, Croatia national team number 1, done well and played in the Champions League for Dinamo Zagreb, done some shocks in Europe, and I think you won't get one like that available again. But at the same time, Fenerbahce can probably offer more than wages than us.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a comment there that just confused me a wee second. Sorry, but I was going to say, yeah. So friend of the friend of the channel, Anthony Joseph, was telling us on Twitter that the priority positions for Celtic in the last hours of the window was 5 signings. We were after goalkeeper, left back, centre back, midfielder, winger. Right? We've got Palma in. We've got Nat Phillips in. Bernardo's maybe the midfielder. Let's see what happens with that. So it does leave those 2 final spots. It does feel like we're probably going to try and push for them in the last, like, I don't know, what's this, 36 hours or something, basically, of the window. I've always been worried about the caliber that we'll be shopping in, but I think, like, if you're in Celtic Park now and you're doing transfers and you see that Group E roll out, surely you just go, let's just fucking spend another 10 million. Let's just make sure, go get that guy. Look at that group, you know. Let's just make sure we go and do it this year. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Still shouts as well saying we need another striker. I think if O's fit, I think we've got enough forward. I think we've got enough firepower, really. We need creative, we need invention in the team, I think.
Definitely. Dyson can play up front as well, and I think new signing Lewis Palma can play there as well. Or going 3-5-2. That's an interesting one there. I think once all centre backs are fit again, like Phillips, Navrosky, and Carter Vickers wouldn't be too bad a back 3. Yeah, listen, goalkeepers, we've had the dilemma for over the past year now. It's crunch time. If we don't sign someone, we're stuck with Joe Hart for the season. But I think as well, one of the probably stumbling blocks of it is Benjamin Siegrist still at the club. Personally, in my personal opinion, I can't really see us bringing in another goalkeeper unless the big man departs. Obviously, his missus is in Australia. Let's contact Western Sydney Wanderers or something. Do you want Benji? Because I think having 4 goalkeepers would maybe be a bit tough. Obviously, we want Scott Bain for the homegrown quota. But certainly an interesting question. Many goals.
Yeah. Current state of the squad. How many goals will we score in Europe, and how many will we concede? I would like to think at home against Lazio and Feyenoord, we should be looking to score 2 or 3. That should be the aim. Certainly, you know. When you look at the games we've had, even in the last kind of 5 years or so, like Leverkusen's and Betis's, you know, we can score a couple of goals a game against top flight opposition. It's not beyond us. Atletico Madrid is just the one you maybe don't want to make a forecast like that with because they're so well known defensively. But yeah, I think over, you know, really the 6 games, if we should be looking to get to close to 1.5 goals over the 6 games or so.
Defensively is where the worries lie. At least I think we've seen it in the past. We don't have a reputation for, but we've seen it like past 2-3 years where we have shipped a good 3 or 4. Like Leverkusen took 4 off us at Parkhead, PSG took 5. Like we've had some scalpings handed out to us, but these teams, I feel like Atletico Madrid, of course, they won 7-0 at the weekend, and they're starting to play more attacking football. I think we're equally capable of doing so as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. But defensively is where the worries lie. But there's no doubt we can score. The attacking talent we have in the team: Luis Palma, Daija Maeda, Lielbada, Kyogo. You can rhyme off the players we have who can do a job. Yang, like goal threats. Matt Riley's becoming more of a goal threat this season, despite him missing a couple of sitters at the weekend. So we do have goals in us, but it's just defensively where the errors lie. We're renowned for mistakes in Europe, especially away in Europe. Hopefully, we can cut them out under Brendan.
Yeah, I hope so too. And coming to the weekend, I'm quite convinced maybe it will be Nat Phillips. I'm kind of listening to you in the chat, and I think fair enough, we'll throw that guy in. So we'll have Taylor, Phillips, Lagerbielke, and Alistair Johnson making up the defence in front of Joe Hart. We're all in consensus that McGregor and O'Reilly are going to play. I think you'll probably pick Odin home just for a wee bit more tenacity in midfield. What do you think? They'll take that final midfielder spot. Maybe it'd be Iwata. Everyone's saying definitely not Turnbull.
I think Turnbull was against Aberdeen away. He was shocking. He was hooked at half time. He didn't start against Kelly, and then obviously he wasn't too great at the weekend either against St Johnstone. So I don't think it will be Turnbull either. Personally, I can't see it being Iwata. He's not even played a minute under Rodgers, so I can't see him throwing him in for the Derby game. It won't be Kwon, certainly not. But I think Moreland could be Odin home. Obviously, he's only 20 years old. He has a bit of an ego. We've seen his Instagram post after Aberdeen away. So he does have that. He would be up for it. It's a great chance for Odin home to cement a place in the team and show what he can do if he goes and starts the game against Rangers at Ibrox. I certainly would want him. I think it probably will be him, going by what we've said. Like Kwon probably is not going to get the start at Wata. No, Turnbull probably not. No, he's not got any others available unless he throws Paulo Bernardo in. Heavily doubt that. I just think obviously Cal McGregor's nailed, Matt Riley's nailed. So yeah, probably Odin home.
And we've got Stephen Huriski here and Fiona Sharkey asking us who we got in the draw and when the draw starts, respectively. We've got Atletico Madrid, we've got Feyenoord, and we've got Lazio, and the draw was done like an hour ago. So in terms of attack, right, I would think it's a stick on Abada, Maeda, Kyogo, but you reckon Yang's going to start?
I don't know if I reckon it, but I hope he does. I would hope so. I think he played really well at the weekend, and I think he was one of our biggest threats until he was brought off in 68 minutes for James Forrest. I don't know what that decision was about, because certainly Forrest didn't come on and do much. But I think that would be the unsurprising kind of run of the mill attack that we'd play. It's the one we've rolled with most of this season so far. Abada, Maeda, and Kyogo, but both Abada and Maeda haven't been in the best form of late. So I don't know if that'll be in Brendan's mind. Might see we could see Maeda on the right, could see Luis Palma get the nod on the left maybe, and then obviously Kyogo. Like last season it would have been nailed that it's Jota and Kyogo your two, but now I think it's a toss up in the wingers. It could be any combination who starts on the right and left. It was interesting as well at the weekend. Obviously, Dyson Maida's traditionally a left winger. We know he's a left winger, and Yang's his natural position is on the right. But Brendan played them in opposites at the weekend, so Yang was on the left and Dyson was on the right. And I think Dyson's much more capable in the left. I think that was evident with the shot he took that went into the Green Brigade. But yeah, hope Calmac finds some form. I would completely agree with that, David. Definitely, I think he's not been the greatest over the past couple of weeks. I think he's not been his usual self. He's been a bit flat, in my opinion. Maybe that's just him trying to get used to the new play style under Brendan. Like I think you said it before, Quinny, like the Scott Brown role and a Brendan Rodgers team. I think that's what Callum McGregor's getting told to do. Now he tried to get Quan to do that role. Obviously seen him in pre-season, but it wasn't too good. But I would like to see Calmac find some form as well, definitely, because I think he can be a great player for Celtic. He's, in my opinion, he's the best all-round footballer in Scotland, Callum McGregor. We've seen what he can do. He's won Player of the Years in the past. He's been absolutely excellent in every midfield role. But the lineup up top, definitely Kyogo. It's just a debate at the minute. Like, we don't know. If I was to pick who I want to start, I'd probably obviously go Kyogo, probably Dyson Maeda on the left, and Yang on the right. That would be my front three. Maybe then Luis Palma and Abada on as impact players.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I just think Rodgers. I was saying this on the Sorare CSC live stream we did on Tuesday, but I remember right early season, the first couple of pre-seasons, the opening day of the season, Maeda, Kyogo, and Abada was a front three that was singing and dancing and doing cartwheels, And it feels like over 2 games that's just evaporated. So I don't know. I think there's still a good bit because again, Maida's just signed a big contract. We're begging Abada to sign one. Kyogo got one, so surely they're all body fit. I'm pretty sure as well. They've been training like mad. So I get what you mean. Yang does give you that little bit of shuffle, doesn't he? He gives you a wee bit of something else on the wing.
I think Yang can beat a man and beat a man with skill and flamboyance and flair. I don't know if Abada's capable of that. Obviously, he can beat a man, but he'll not like get you off your seat type thing. If you know what I mean, he's more of a coming in at the back post for a tap in type thing, Lil Abada. But I think no one would complain if we started those three, Maeda, Abada, Kyogo, because it is at the start of the season that was the first choice front three. Probably still is the first choice front three in my opinion. But Yang at the weekend threw a spanner into the works. Don't think few would have expected Abada to get benched at home to St Johnstone, but Yang got the nod and he done well. I think he's said recently, like he said at the weekend after the game, like he's treating the derby at the weekend like any other league game and any normal game, but he's been told it'll be tough obviously because we've got no fans in. Pardon me, but I think, yeah, the first choice is Maeda, Abada, Kyogo, but you could see Yang getting on.
And everyone's putting Palma down for a wild card from the bench. I don't know about, so this is, I said this before, I said it a few times in this kind of last week or 2 weeks, right? This is definitely the most kind of nervous I've felt coming into a derby match in forever, like really for a long time. So I'm not sure if that's going to like jinx us into like a good result or if it is going to be like a really horrible game or not a good result or whatever. So I don't feel that confident to give a score prediction this week. Like, especially the big 8-0s or anything like that, So, but I do have this kind of like, see those times where we're going to play them and you think we should be rolling them over. And sometimes they get that banana skin result. I think we've got maybe a wee bit of that. I don't know what the word is for it, but maybe a wee bit of that in our corner. Even though they've obviously had a deflating result midweek, I do feel that they believe they are on more of an upward than we are coming into this game. So that's, and also the no fans situation and whatever is how I kind of frame it that way.
Certainly, I would agree that I think it's the first time in a wee while Celtic have went into a derby as slight underdogs. Like we've seen, obviously last week they went up to Ross County, got a good result. We dropped points at home to St Johnstone, and then I think pre-Wednesday night, I think everyone was in the same camp, dreading the game on Sunday. Like spoke to a lot of fans who were like not looking forward to it, thinking we could get beat. But then you watch the game on Wednesday, PSV take 5 off Rangers, and I think the mood changed slightly, especially with 2 new signings. I think it's more of a better mood, and now obviously Champions League draw is going to fill people with excitement. So personally, we are still underdogs. I think that, in my opinion, going into the game. But at the same time, I think it's more than there for Celtic to go and get a result at Ibrox. we've seen how the opposition defended last night, shipped 5 goals, and they weren't even down to 10 men or anything like that. That was a full first team that lost 5, and I think that will deflate Rangers going into the game. But at the same time, it could be a case of they need to prove themselves again, need to get back up and running. But we should note as well, last time we played Rangers, we were beaten 3-0 at Ibrox. That was the last derby game. That'll be in the minds of lots of Celtic players wanting to prove a point because they want to go 2 games in a row, getting beat. So it's going to be a really tough game. Toughest game of the season so far, biggest game of the season so far. We said that it's like when you have the derby this early in the season, like we usually do, every game leading up to it, it's like you're looking forward to the mini cup final type thing. And then you've got the international break after it, so you can start a clean slate. But I think Brendan will want to go into that international break on a positive note and top of the league. Well, obviously above Rangers because St Mirren and Motherwell kind of on the same points as us in a minute. But it will be tough. There's no question. Going to Ibrox with no fans, no Celtic fans on the ground. A lot of players making their derby debuts. Lagerbielke's yet to play. Obviously, if you throw in Scales, he's never played in a derby. Well, started in a derby. Phillips, if he starts. Luis Palma, Odin Holm. So there's quite a few boys in there who've yet to taste a derby. But that's the same in the Rangers camp. Like Salammers, Danilo Dessers have yet to play in a derby, but they do have the advantage because they are at home. In the back end of the whole stadium is going to be against Celtic, apart from one dugout, which is going to be quite annoying.
But that could be a bit of a poison chalice for them as well. That whole stadium, as we know,
I think they'll be looking to silence it definitely, and I feel like it could turn out to be a goal fest in my opinion. Both defences not the greatest. Like seen Rangers midweek ship 5, like I've said, and then obviously we played St Johnstone. Obviously we didn't concede, but our defence is not the greatest. You're looking at like Scales and Phillips or Scales and Lagerbielke starting. It's not the greatest. So it could be. I think there could be a lot of goals in the game. It could be a case of highest scorer wins. But there is a bit of reverse psychology, like you've said, where Celtic underdogs going into the game not confident as much as they would like to be or as much as they have been in previous derbies. Like, you look at the game at home to Rangers at the beginning of last season where Celtic ran out 4-0 winners. I think the majority of the fan base were very confident going into that game that we could go and get a result. And we've done that. We've done that time and time again against Rangers last season. We beat them in semi-final, beat them in cup final. And I don't think a lot of supporters were nervous for those games. Like, I think most people were confident that they could go and beat the Ibrox side, and obviously we did that. But I think this one's totally different dynamics, and it's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to it more than I was previously due to the results the other night and new signings coming in the door. It's obviously Brendan's first derby back in charge, so he'll want to make a good impression in his first clash against Michael Beale. Like, he was a specialist in the derby. He beat Rangers 5-1 twice, masterminded the 3-2 win at Ibrox when we were down to 10 men and we were behind twice in that game. So Brendan knows the fixture, knows the city. That's a line we've seen several times. But he does, and that's the positive thing going into the game. He will know how to get players prepared because he's succeeded in the fixture before, which is only positive. But at the same time, it's going to be a tough one. We know that. I think all eyes in Scotland are going to be on the game. The players will know that, and it's just about Celtic going out there and not making a good account of themselves. And it's not so much about the performance in a derby. I feel like the derby is about winning. Celtic will want to win. We're a point ahead of Rangers at the minute. A draw, I think majority of people would be content with a draw. I think if you offered Celtic fans the chance to be going into the first derby of the season at Ibrox a point ahead of Rangers, I think everyone would have bitten your hand off for it, in honesty. And that's the situation we're in now. Obviously, it's disappointing we lost the 3-point lead because then you could have been going into this game and looking to take a 6-point advantage in September. Like, we took a 5-point advantage in September last year. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to make a score prediction like you, Quinny. I think it's one of those ones where it's a nervy big game. Like, if it was first game of the Champions League, home to Atletico Madrid or whatever, I'm giving a score prediction, but not for this one.
Yeah, we'll quietly just get to the game and have some fun. Obviously, none of us will be going to the game, but we'll get there. We'll travel through space and time, and we'll arrive on Sunday. And no matter where you're going to watch the game, or family, friends, a social club, or whatever, a Celtic supporters club, whatever you're off to, enjoy yourselves this weekend, guys. I hope we have a good result. And Champions League. I think we're having a party, Josh.
We are. We're not in a group of death, and I think most people are happy with the group. And that's done now. Transfer deadline day. Left back and a goalkeeper, please, Michael Nicholson. And then hopefully a result on Sunday, and things are looking up again.
That's it. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.